Hello and welcome back to the Daring and Doing podcast. I'm Will Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, how you doing, mate? ANGE BALL's back.
ANGE BALL's back, baby. I'm alive. I'm alive with the sound of ANGE BALL. It was what a week. What a week. Just seeing his face. Just seeing his face on the screen. Yeah, I know. We're feasting. We are so back.
And we look good as well. We look good. That weren't the only good thing that's happened. We've got some positive transfer news we're going to talk about. Invert a wing got blocked by Pedro Porro.
Yes!
There's been a few positives. Yes. This means more than a trophy.
It's probably the biggest positive of them all. I've got I've got more trophies in my background behind me than fucking Spurs have in their last 10 years.
What you got behind you?
They're so my job before I started doing this, I worked in music. They're #1 album awards that I earned. This one,
serious.
Yeah, that one's for the Barbie soundtrack. That was me that did that.
What the fuck?
Last year, yeah. #1.
What, working with like Lizzo and them, man?
Lizzo and them, man, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Nicki Minaj and them, man.
Nice. Ice Spice?
Exactly. I was not involved in the Ice Spice Central C Madeline Archie. Does any Spurs fan care or know what I'm talking about? But yeah, I know. New background today. Internet's been a bit ropey in the office, so thought I'd freshen it up.
All good. Well,
for the viewers,
Ben, I've got to confess something.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the QPR game.
What the fuck? What were you doing? What were you doing?
Sorry.
What were you? What could you possibly have been doing?
I was providing to the people. I was providing to the people, mate.
What, pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed as well. I was like, just giving people pizzas and just not smiling. I was so pissed off that I was missing ANGE BALL.
Do you reckon anyone you delivered to was watching? Yeah. Do you reckon anyone you delivered to was watching the QPR Spurs game?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, who has Spurs play? Like, I mean, you have Spurs play, but I actually feel like I've heard some shit things about it.
Mate, it kept going down. So I was doing a and thanks to anybody that joined. I did a live stream on TikTok for both Hearts and QPR games, which were good, like a watch along. And but I think it was in like the 18th minute or so, the stream just went down, like just froze, and then everyone kept putting in the chat about Lucas Bergvall, and I was like, oh, what, has he scored or what? And then it was like, no, he's gone off injured. He's gonna literally. It cut back. They had to cut back to Ben Haynes and Stephen Kelly, who I presume, like most people, like anyone who did watch it on Spurs play, Stephen Kelly's actually been really good in terms of the analysis and stuff like that. He's popped up on a few Spurs things, and they just had to sort of talk through like what happened in the first 15 minutes for like a few minutes, and then it cut back to the game. And literally, as soon as it cut back, Kulusevski was like coming on. I was like, what's happened here? And it was like Bergvall just limping off. I was like, oh, brilliant.
Bergvall just done his ACL. Like
yeah.
his second game.
I must have been like a walking advert for Spurs play, because it was like the amount of comments that I had in my TikTok stream over the last couple of games that were like, where are you watching the game? Like, where can you watch it? I was like, I'm watching it on Spurs Play. I'm like, I paid the money. Like, season ticket holders get £10 off. Like, I thought should have been working on commission. Yeah. So it's only 35 quid. Like, it could be a lot better, don't get me wrong. And obviously going down in games is not ideal. But, you know, you get to watch, if you want to watch like the under 21 games live, you can watch them all live. If you want to watch like full 90-minute replays of all the Prem and European games, you can do that like basically straight after the game. So it's pretty decent.
Good for you, mate. It's good for you with your content. And
exactly.
if I mean, everyone's going to know who's listening to this podcast, but Ben's been breaking down the games. It's been unreal. And also, you had a big week as well. You went on the ripple effect. James Alcott, mate. It's what really happened.
Anyway, I wonder if there's
Harry
any
Brooks as well.
Yeah, Harry Brooks. Yeah, I'm sure everyone will know who who Harry Brooks is. Top guy, Spurs fan, football coach, and suave guy. Like, just turned up in this black shirt that was just gorgeous.
Love Island bombshell, mate.
You're literally entering the villa. Harry Brooks has entered the villa tonight on the ripple effect. Harry Brooks,
Ben Bowman.
Mate, I felt so like he's one of them people that like I'm sure most people that listen to this again know who he is and value like his stuff because he's very knowledgeable. when he speaks, you listen. It's one of them things, you know what I mean? Like you try and have a conversation with him, and it's like feel like so inferior in terms of ball knowledge. It's just very clever, yeah. Aura talks about games, talks about it really well.
Mate,
but
you was
great.
Superb on it, mate. You were superb, mate.
Enjoyed it.
I was proud.
Thanks, mate. Felt like I graduated. I got a message off of someone who, I still do it sometimes. The Anglo-Italian podcast. It was one of the first podcasts I was doing, and they posted the thing on their Instagram story. It was like it's like he's graduated.
Yeah, it is like that. It's a massive step.
And it was graduation week for a lot of people as well, wasn't it? So, I mean, I'm 26 and too old for that, unless I go back and do a master's and something, maybe masters on like ball knowledge or something. But
tactics, ball knowledge.
But no, it was good. It was good fun. It was a different experience being actually in a kind of a studio and stuff like that. It was it was good fun, and I guess kind of a massive moment for me because it was like you sort of look back on everything you've done and you think that like it wouldn't have happened if people didn't listen to this or didn't watch my videos or exactly. So it's quality. So thanks to everyone that gave nice feedback and watched and listened and who was listened to us and listened to me and stuff. So it's been a good week. It's been a good week.
What I thought was quite sick actually when you were doing the ripple effect with the episode of like breaking down I think you did a tier list, didn't you, on signings, potential signings and rumours for each club. And for Chelsea, the person that was getting the most plaudits was Desire Doue. And Harry Brooks was like raving about him, but in regards to Chelsea,
signing of the summer.
He was saying that, and we're going to get into Doue later because Fabrizio Romano, he's got a bit cold on it. He ain't tweeting 24/7 about Bayern Munich, PSG, and Spurs just waiting in the shadows. Maybe, possibly.
Are we back? Are you trying to say are we back?
Mate, we'll get into him. We'll get into him later. But first, I want to talk about the Hearts game because that was the first game of Ange Ball back for pre-season. What were your takeaways from that? What were the positives and negatives from that game?
The Hearts game, I think it's hard to like. The first half was a good performance. Archie Gray was superb. I thought we looked really fluid in build-up. I thought Kulusevski was excellent in that number 10. Something that's kind of been a feature of both games. Really, I've been really impressed with him in midfield. It's hard to take too much from the first half because that's the first team playing against Hearts, and it's like the QPR are a much bigger test for Tottenham. QPR are like a really well-drilled, well-organised side. Cifuentes is a good manager. Like we saw kind of the upturn in form that QPR had when he went there, basically like promotion form for a team that were fighting off relegation. But the Hearts game, it wasn't the best opposition, but you can take stuff away from it. But definitely more so the second half you can take stuff away from. Thought we were excellent. I thought what is great, and again, there's no point coming and sitting here saying like, well, there is point in it, but there's, it's all well and good coming here and sitting saying, oh, we played really well and like we played Hearts off the park and all that kind of stuff, scored 4 brilliant goals. But I think the biggest thing to take away from it is the fact that these young players have kind of stepped up into that first team without the fear and have kind of massively 100% bought into what Ange wants to do. And that was evident in both games, but especially against Hearts. Obviously, Lankshear got his goal, Mikey Moore got his goal, he's just been brilliant across both games. Like, I know, again, like you have to, all the obvious caveats of pre-season and the strength of the opposition, etc. But Mikey Moore, what's that now? A goal against Cambridge in the behind closed doors game, goal against Hearts, and an assist against QPR.
And a lot off the right as well.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we didn't. Fuck knows what the Cambridge. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. The Cambridge goal was like because it was behind closed doors. So, but for all we know, it could have been a worldie. The way he took that goal against Hearts, and then the outside of the boot roll across the box for Scarlett on Saturday was just beautiful. And yeah, he was superb. Obviously, I thought a player that's been impressive in both games, and probably talk about him a little bit more for QPR, to be honest, was Alfie Devine. Like, kind of, what almost you feel like you have to kind of, and I feel like a lot of people have been doing this on Twitter and podcasts and stuff. It's like you kind of want to send this message out a bit, like, don't forget about him. Like, don't forget about him. Like last summer, like I was listening to Alistair Gold earlier, and he was saying that, before we'd signed Lucas Bergvall, before we'd signed Archie Gray, people were saying that, could Devine be the backup to Maddison? And then obviously he went out on loan and did quite well at Port Vale, and obviously went to Plymouth. I thought he was really impressive. Bergvall just mustered. just again, like he was a bit sloppy in the Hearts game. But some of the things he did were just gorgeous. Like there was a move towards the end of the game where Scarlett nearly scored. It was just Tottenham kind of just in full flow, and it's just such a pleasure to watch this team. Whether it's Maddison, Sonny, and Kulusevski and Johnson, or whether it's Moore, Lankshear, and Devine and Bergvall, like it's just the same. It's just you kind of get exactly the same out from it, and you get more from it when it's the youngsters because like we've spent how long now, kind of a year or so, or just under a year, kind of hyping up this young group of talent that we've got that have kind of soared through the age groups and obviously gone on and won the PL2, and it's always more satisfying. Like naturally, like I said, I was doing a live stream when the Hearts game was on, and when the teams were more mixed, I'd say, for the QPR game, whereas the Hearts game was a little bit more like first 11, second 11 kind of vibe. And there was still a little bit of that at QPR, but like Maddison played the second half, which I think was really good for some of the other younger players as well, to have like someone with that experience, with that much confidence as well. And I've been impressed with him in pre-season, Maddison, so far. But yeah, it was just super fun, that Hearts game, because some of the football that we were playing was just gorgeous. Shout out to Jamie Donnelly as well, again, someone that we talked about for both games. Struggled a little bit against QPR. But again, playing at left back, like, you obviously see some. I mean, this isn't a long-term solution thing, and it's a bit like, no. We should talk about Archie Gray in detail because he was absolutely fantastic against Hearts, especially. But it's like Postecoglou's got to find solutions in pre-season and just give these guys game time. Obviously, you don't want to be playing Archie Gray and Oliver Skipp at centre back and Jamie Donnelly at left back. And it's not ideal having the only recognised defender in that back line as Pedro Porro, who's arguably the most suspect defender out of all the ones that we have. And that's not, that's not a dig at him because
get invert the wing started.
Oh God, yeah, exactly. You don't say Djed Spence is starting next season. But in relative terms, like he is. But he obviously, I love Porro. He's fantastic. But with that context as well, they did so well. And Donnelly, I thought he looked just at home there. And I think it's obviously like the quality that he does show on the ball when he gets into those final third areas, kind of as that number 10, which we saw a lot from Udogie and Porro in those roles last season. You can see why Ange was just like, okay, let's try and work something out, because obviously Udogie's injured still, or in rehab. Ben Davis is obviously injured as well still. And then we haven't got any centre backs, so other than Ashley Phillips. So it's like you got to find a way. Then again, like it's just about giving them minutes. But the Hearts game was so exciting. But there's a couple of players that we should talk about in more detail. I think personally would be Will Lankshear and Archie Gray, because they stood out a mile out.
To me. We'll get into them. We'll get into them in a minute. But first of all, Jamie Donnelly, you said he struggled in the QPR game, because again, I didn't watch the QPR game. Like what ways? But actually, before you get into that, sorry, I just realised I was going to say something. For years we've had a shit youth team. We have, so we feel like privileged to have these, like a proper increase of pure footballing talent coming through the youth academy, and they just look fearless. And it's such a testament to Archie Gray and Jamie Donnelly and Donnelly's character, and obviously Skippy. He's obviously more mature and more an established player in the team, but to put him, and he's a youth prospect, Skip. He still is. So to put those types of players out of position, especially Gray on his debut, Donnelly stepping up to the first team, playing left back. I mean, it speaks volumes of what Ange thinks of them and their character to just adapt straight away. And again, Archie Gray, I mean, he's come in, he's played centre back both games, and we were told by the Athletic he was going to be expected to play at midfield for most of his career, and now he's playing centre back. I know he's not going to be a long-term solution at centre back, but just the fact that he's just hit the ground running, playing out positions, such a good sign. And we just got such a incredible sort of hive of youth products. But yeah, you said Jamie Donnelly struggled a little bit QPR. In what way?
It was more just on the ball. Like he gave the ball away a couple of times, like a couple of sloppy passes. But again, like for the most part, he was fine. Like he wasn't quite as good as he was against Hearts, and there was a couple of times where there was a couple of balls that he played that got us into trouble. But even on that, like it's hard to, one, he's playing out of position, and like in a role that he's never ever played before, other than the last 2 games before that. Because I think he played there in that first friendly, right, the Cambridge one as well, and people were like, "Hold on, like, what's going on here?" But I think again, like it kind of comes back to what you said, really. Like even if he struggled, and I said this on the Fighting Cock last week. One thing that stuck in my mind massively ever since Postecoglou joined, there was the game that we played against Arsenal, the North London derby at the Emirates. I remember, obviously, in that game we had 20 minutes where we struggled. Like, we were massively up against it, against a very good team. And Jesus fired that chance over the bar. Maddison gave the ball away on the edge of the box. We were under the pump. And I remember Mickey van der Ven, after the game, did an interview and was talking about the fact that when you're trying to play out from the back, you look over to the manager in Postecoglou and he's just like, just play, just continue to play. Don't worry, out of your minds, just play. And we got through that. And I think back to Destiny Doggy, Saka had him on toast, really, didn't he, for the first sort of 20 minutes of that game?
Yeah.
And then after that, he was magnificent, because it's just like, naturally, when you want to play like that against a good side, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Man City, whoever it is, you're going to come up against moments where you struggle. Like Man City, remember that game where everyone went there and was like, you can't play that against City. It's like, again, we had 15, 20 minutes where we struggled, but yes, we can because we believe in ourselves. And that was without Van der Ven and Van der Ven and Romero. But again, it kind of comes back to this, because it's just like those players and Postecoglou, it's like, yes, of course, the training wheels have got to come off at some point. And I think there were moments towards some point through the season where Ange was almost a bit like, okay, well, it is down to the players now. Like, the players, I've done my bit almost. Like, don't get me wrong, Postecoglou's work is not done in terms of coaching these players into the way that he wants them to play. That's a constant. But like I said, the training wheels do have to come off. He can't take all the responsibility if things go wrong. But I think having that trust as a young group of players from the manager is just fantastic. And that's bled down to these younger players, whether that's the attacking players who just play with this kind of freedom anyway, or players playing out of position in defence, whether it's Archie Gray or whether it's Jamie Donnelly as well. And like I said, Jamie Donnelly gave the ball away a couple of times and he didn't quite have his best game. He wasn't as good as he was against Hearts. But he still did a lot of things really, really well. Really, really well, and had the confidence. There was one moment I highlighted in my YouTube stream yesterday where I think it was we missed a chance. I think it was Brennan Johnson fired this cross in that was pretty wayward towards Werner. But that came from, we had a throw in on the right-hand side and Donnelly's in the left-back role. And he's just burst it. He's seen a gap open up on the right-hand side and he just burst into it and got the ball from Porro. He runs down the right wing as a left back and then plays this ball through to Johnson. He's in on goal. Still got that confidence to go and play. So I think this manager and this whole kind of holistic setup at Tottenham at the moment, again, we spoke about it on the Fighting Cock last week. It's like Spurs want to be this hub for some of the best young talent in Europe, whether that's the players that we're already bringing through the academy or whether that's players that we bring in, whether it's Bergvall, whether it's Archie Gray, whether it's Radu Dragusin, who obviously is a bit older. All these players, there's a reason why Bergvall and Dragusin picked Tottenham over Bayern Munich and Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly.
People will laugh at Tottenham for that, but it's what we want to. It's a clear sign of progress in terms of what we want to be as a club and having that identity. So it's easy for these younger players to kind of step in, and that fear factor is just gone. So that was one of the things against Hearts in particular. You really, really saw, and in both games really, but there was obviously when Lankshear and Moore are scoring and Bergvall's getting assists and that kind of thing, it's more prevalent in that game. But yeah, just so fun to watch this Spurs side.
Yeah.
Where it's I followed the under-21s a lot last year, and just seeing some of these players able to make that step up is just fantastic. So good to watch, so fun.
Yeah, chat to me about Will Lankshear then, mate. Because honestly, when I saw him come on against Hearts, I was like, "Look at the size of that fucker, mate! He looks massive. He looks massive, and he was holding off these massive Scottish centre backs, QPR defenders. There was a moment where I think Kulusevski slipped through Mikey Moore, but that space was made through Will Lankshear just holding off that defender with his back towards goal, just unselfishly. Just creating space for Mikey Moore to burst into. I mean, what are your thoughts on him? Because he was a player that was and still is linked with a loan move away to the Championship. Yeah. A lot of clubs are interested in him. But obviously, we're going to get into Richarlison possibly leaving later in the pod. Do you think there is room for him to maybe step up in Europa League games? Maybe keep hold of him this season?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, it was quite telling that again. We haven't had Richarlison available, so the sample size is smaller. But I think I was saying that Alistair Gold put out, wasn't there, saying that Will Lankshear has been the most impressive centre forward in pre-season, and that's why he's kind of been given that chance. And you always felt like he was going to get given an opportunity in pre-season, regardless, anyway. Yeah, but to hear that is fantastic. And again, like you said, there might have been a loan move on the table for him, but I believe, I don't know what time, but after we record this, they might announce the squad for the preseason tour.
Oh, yeah.
If he gets a seat on that plane, obviously he still could go on loan towards the end of the window, but having 3 games in Japan and Korea against competitive opposition in Vissel Kobe and obviously the K-League All-Stars and then Bayern potentially as well, and then another game against Bayern, if he continues to impress then, and again, it's not just his goal, it's not just the way he took that goal, the movement was superb, and the finish, it was all Kane-esque, wasn't it? Like it was that. But I think the most impressive thing about him has been his off-the-ball work and pinning defenders with his back to goal. He's a big boy. Like he is a big boy. When you watched him for the 21s last year, obviously he was the PL2 Player of the Year, and I always feel like, I said this in a TikTok video the other day, everyone is obviously naturally so focused on Mikey Moore, Jamie Donnelly, some of these other players that are coming through the academy. And for the PL2 Player of the Year, it feels like he still goes under the radar a little bit. I don't know why.
Yeah, massively, 100%.
Massively under the radar. But he's class, mate. He's mustard. Like, I think he's, at best, he's ready for a championship loan. Like, at worst, I'd say. Like, at worst, he's ready for a championship loan. And I think that just shows the level and how quickly he's kind of come on. What I love the most about the whole thing is like this similar arc and narrative to Harry Kane in terms of like striker comes up through the academy. Obviously, I think he's a boyhood Spurs fan because otherwise he was obviously kissing the badge when he scored, which was class. Like there's an amazing photo of like,
yeah.
I'm going to stop saying it, but like just assume all of this conversation is caveated with the fact that it's a preseason game against Hearts, right? Take that with anything that we say in this, but there's that picture of him and Mikey Moore, like arm in arm, celebrating with the Spurs fans behind the goal. It's like, that might be something that you look back on in 5 years' time and think, wow, like these two. Like Will Lankshear, Will Lankshear's only just turned 19, I think. Obviously, Mikey Moore isn't even 17. But just the confidence of the movement and everything that he did was just like, just
his movement was
brilliant.
excellent, wasn't it? His movement was class. His intelligence is there for the pace. I mean, I know pre-season the pace isn't even. It's probably 80% pace, but again, these are championship defenders, and the movement, the intelligence, in-game intelligence was quality because he was bringing other players in. It weren't even just for himself making space for himself. He's making space for others, and he's so sharp. He's so quick, and he's just such a handful at such a young age.
I know, obviously, again, it was a fairly simple finish, right? The goal that he scored. It was a good finish, don't get me wrong, but it was all made because of his movement. But like, how many times do you see like young players, even saw it with Mikey Moore a little bit in the QPR game? He missed that chance where Kulusevski played this beautiful ball through to him. But he, like Mikey, I know it's going to sound stupid and it's almost like you're giving him praise for praise's sake, but he even missed it with composure. Do you know what I mean? It was a good save. Like he should have scored, but like the way he took it wasn't. It was almost a little bit too composed, if anything.
It weren't erratic, and he didn't he didn't shank at it or anything like that. Yeah,
exactly. And how many times do you see youth players get into those positions in a men's game, and like you think, oh God, like please don't miss, and it's like it's almost like all of these things are playing in their mind. Whereas Lankshear it was Kane. It was like Harry Kane. Like he just took his time and absolutely buried it. And like you look at the movement from him, like the side on angle where they kind of show it after the goal in the replay. He's a couple of yards offside, and then he sees the pass coming from who was it that slipped him through? It was Spence, wasn't it? Who's someone that we'll talk about. Just that awareness to get back on side and just curve his run round the front of the man, and he doesn't even see him, and he can't stop him, and it's a goal. It's just been so impressive with him. His attitude, everything like that. It just was superb. What I loved about him in the 21s last year, watching him a lot, was like scores all kind of goals. Doesn't really score beautiful goals though. Like scores scruffy striker goals, and I love that. Like what it's all down to his movement and all down to the anticipation of where the ball's going to be and where he needs to be. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some really good finishes. Like I remember the game against Sunderland, the last game they had of the season to win the Premier League Cup. Scored a brace in that game, and both of those kind of came from cutbacks and him peeling back into that zone where he needed to be and just sweeping the ball home again, sort of Kane-esque a little bit. But scored ugly goals. Scored goals like get out of the way. I'm going to get there first and just score at all costs, and that's what I love about him. I genuinely think I think it's a massive pre-season for Dane Scarlett, and obviously it was great for Scarlett to get that goal. But I think especially as Ange sort of said, or people were saying that Ange sort of said that Scarlett is ahead of Veliz in the pecking order.
Yeah,
and I think Veliz,
that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and I feel like Veliz has come on and just still looked a little bit like, I don't know, erratic.
You talked about composure. Yeah, that's it. You talked about composure and people looking fearless. And yeah, he does. I think he has everything in his locker to come good. Like, again, when we signed him, he was another player that his movement was excellent. He was a bully. Him sniffing out where to be and where the chances, where he's going to take a chance was amazing. He's come to the Prem, and I think he's too desperate. I think he's too overstimulated when he comes on, and too desperate to make a marker. And I think that's let him down. Whereas Lankshear's come in and looked fearless, looked like, okay, this is my moment. This is I've worked my way up to this point, and he's hit these little milestones in the club. He knows the club. He knows the language. Veliz, I think, is just desperate to impress, and I think there's a different ways to go about it. And Veliz has looked a bit erratic, and that just makes you think he needs a Premier League loan. Like, give him a loan where he's got less pressure on himself, because I think he's got too much pressure on himself at the moment.
Yeah, I totally
agree. Again, I think Veliz is another player. I think it's dangerous to be comparing. Lankshear will have this his whole career being compared to Kane because of his journey making it to the top, and the way he sort of carries himself on the pitch.
Yeah,
it is Kane-esque, but I think it's quite dangerous because I feel like they will always have that pressure of like reaching those expectations. Like Veliz was compared, which is so fucking stupid. He was compared to like Luis Suarez, I think.
Yeah.
By Messi or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Or
I remember there was something like that.
Something like that when we signed him, and we were like, "Oh my god, who are we signing?" He's more like an Edin Dzeko type striker. He's more of a Cavani type striker, a fox in a box, great movement, great at heading. But I think when you chuck those sort of expectations at him as a young player, you can take that both ways. You can be calm about it, or you can put that pressure on your shoulders. And I feel like Veliz has that. So actually, that brings me to
he wears it a lot more than the other players, doesn't he? I think Scarlett's a bit like that as well.
Scarlett, I think.
Whereas
so.
I think, again, it's easy for Lankshear because he's not been exposed as much. He hasn't gone out on loan, and maybe that will come over time, and maybe he will get a little bit more like, I don't know, that fear will come into him a little bit, which, you know, that's fine to an extent.
Natural.
But at the moment, he's not showing that at all, and I don't think we've seen that from a Spurs striker since. But even, I suppose, even Harry Kane, like, there was always doubt with Kane, wasn't there? Nobody even I remember.
It's true, yeah.
It's funny, against Hearts, and it was actually in a competitive game, Kane's debut, and we're all there thinking, this guy ain't gonna make it. So it's like,
this guy's wank.
And now he's the we spoke about it on the last pod, didn't we? I think about having this almost like Harry Kane isn't at Spurs anymore, but he is. Like he is in terms of like that, like in the walls and kind of the halls of the academy. He's there. He is there because he's Tottenham's best ever product, and it's that even though obviously some of these players would have rubbed shoulders with him a little bit and had that influence and been able to speak to him about certain things and all that kind of stuff, especially someone like Scarlett, maybe not so much Lankshear because his development he's not been at the club. He's been at the club for about 2 years or year and a half, or maybe a bit longer. But his influence is still there. So it's like, that obviously creates a bit of pressure, but it also creates this belief in yourself of like, if he can do it, I can do it. Because Kane was written off
with all the setbacks. Yeah,
exactly. And hopefully Lankshear doesn't have any of them, and he just comes into the first team and absolutely catches fire. But you know, we shall see. I'm just really impressed with him. He's got. It's going to sound so stupid, but like he's got such a not stupid, but he's got a very likable personality, and I've barely heard him talk. Like, you see his face, like the way it lights up when I don't know, like there's something about really kind of something really likable about him, and I can't really put my finger on what that is. But he's a great guy.
We've got a lot of those sort of young players who just play football with a smile on their face, look like they have a great attitude. And let's talk about Archie Gray and Bergvall in a bit more detail, because they're players that play with a smile on their face. Archie Gray, they've been saying that he like goes around picking up the cones after training, and they're like, we don't do that here. Like, you're a
you're not Leeds anymore, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing because they've got that right attitude, that groundedness to grounded. They're grounded. Groundedness, is that word? Fucking hell.
Grounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're centered.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, the centred, yeah, and it shows when they go on the football pitch, because that playing with a smile on your face just shows that fearlessness. So what's your first thoughts on Bergvall? Because Bergvall, he come on again, a lot of expectations. He come on at half time, so he's thinking, I need to make an impact fast. I think he struggled for the first 5 minutes, and then he cracked on, and he seemed like he started well against QPR.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Bergvall and Gray? And I know it's pre-season, but what's your expectations of him for this season?
Mate, I mean, Bergvall, before he came off against QPR, he was the best player on the pitch. Was the best player on the pitch. And also, like, it's important to give praise to that midfield as a unit, because Basuma and Sarr were excellent as well. Like, it was great to see Sarr back on the pitch, and I love that midfield. As soon as that team came out for the QPR game, I was like, yes, yeah. Like, I like this. Yeah. Like, a lot of fluidity, and I think that's something that we've seen a lot in this midfield. There's no obvious 10, but again, it doesn't really matter because they're all so composed and so confident on the ball. Little balls around corners, just like, I think with Bergvall against QPR, what's really impressive about him is, one, his press resistance, and I think we saw that a lot against Hearts as well. Gave the ball away a couple of times against Hearts, but again, even with that, tried to win it back so quickly. Lovely little ball around the corner to Mikey Moore for his goal. Again, I spoke about it earlier, but there was a lovely little move towards the end of the game where he just pops it around the corner without even looking to Alfie Devine. And it's to Tyrese Hall, and Tyrese then plays it back into him, and he splits the lines with the ball to Devine, and then Devine sets Scarlett for on goal. Brilliant move. And again, we saw a lot more of that against QPR, of Bergvall going and picking the ball up off Brandon Austin or the centre-backs and just looking like he was going to lose it, or looking like he could lose it under pressure, and then just little ball around the corner, disguise. And I think what's so beneficial about having someone like him who can drop into that number 6 position, because again, when you look at that midfield, right, Basuma, Sarr and Bergvall, you'd think Basuma is the 6. Like, he's obviously the most dominant physically and best defensively out of those 3. But Bergvall dropping into those positions and picking the ball up off the goalkeeper, when you've got players that are so good in transition like Pat Matasar, and so comfortable receiving the ball on the half turn as well, if it's, say, the 2 centre-backs split and it's Gray and Skip, and then you've got Porro who will invert into midfield, and then you've got, as soon as he can just look up, and he's got these options of players who are great in transition like Sarr. And there was a move that we put together that was beautiful from the back in the first 5 minutes, where Bergvall looked as if he could lose it, just pings the ball in between 2 QPR players. Sarr receives it on the half turn, and he's just that engine that's just going to then go, and you get up the pitch so quickly. So he's such a beneficial midfielder to have in the system in terms of the way that we play. So well suited. Alistair Gold was talking about it earlier or yesterday. He uploaded one of his big long videos, and he was talking about when he went to watch Bergvall play for, I can't remember, I always butcher the name of the team that he played for. I don't want to do it again. And he was talking about, he was interviewing someone who was at the academy that he was at before he went to that team. Again, it's all a bit checkered in terms of the memory of it. But because Kulusevski was at the same academy as Bergvall, is that right? And
he was, and Gyökeres as well.
And he said that, like, Kulusevski is a great player, Gyökeres is a great player, but Bergvall is better than those two at his age. As in better than they were
at that stage. And
he said he'd be perfect for the way Postecoglou wants to play. And it's just the speed in which he's got, the speed in which he does things, and it's just, he's a delightful footballer. And again, hopefully they came out and said that the injury isn't too serious, which is great. He'll get on the preseason tour. And do you remember when we played Real Madrid in preseason, when Dele Alli first signed for us, and Dele Alli was playing against Modric and playing against these players and was like, nutmegged him, didn't he? And he was like, who's it? I think we're going to see that again with Bayern and think, all right, fuck just giving him a chance in the Europa League and see what happens. This kid is going to play. Like, I genuinely think he'll get a lot of minutes. Again, shouldn't read too much into squad numbers and all that shit, but 15, proper number, proper player. He's lovely. Like, he's just he's going
to get on that ball against Bayern Munich in front of the home fans and fucking tear Kimmich's ACL on the half turn, and everyone's going to be like, everyone's going to stand up and start clapping.
Yeah, even Harry.
I haven't got anything against Kimmich. I don't know why I don't know why Kimmich specifically, but I feel like he's going to just like break ankles, and like you're saying, people are going to be like, oh my god, and also on a worldwide stage as well, because people are going to be watching friendlies, people are going to be paying attention to friendlies of that sort of.
Yeah, if it's Tottenham against Bayern Munich, people are going to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all well and good. People will say, well, it's all well and good against Hearts and QPR, but what are you going to do? But I think people will be surprised. One of the,
I think so.
sort of like what you just said in terms of like that ability to break ankles. What I love what he does, and I highlighted this in the stream yesterday, was like he's just got such a nice little shimmy where it's like he's coming in, he'll lure you in and come inside and then just go the other way. Like he's kind of got this almost like, and I hate to say it because fuck them Gooner cunts, but he's got that Odegaard thing of being quite deceptively strong. Like you look at him, blonde 19-year-old kid or 18 or however old
little
he is.
Twink.
Little twink. Just sort of playing with his hair and that, like, lovely play on the ball. He's quite strong. And I've always said that about Odegaard as well. He like rides tackles really well and is good in the jaw and like quite deceptive.
Core strength.
Yeah, a bit like, again, not to give too much praise to them, a bit like Saka. Like he's kind of got that thing of like Saka for a while was almost like got bullied quite a lot and get kicked about. Doesn't do that anymore. Saka's very, very strong. And I think Bergvall has kind of got that similar thing to Odegaard in that way of just being like, yeah, you want to come close to me and you want to think you're going to tackle me? No, see you later. I'm gone. And it's got the physical. There were so many times where against QPR, especially where it looked like he was going to lose the ball and get tackled, and he was just like, he's gone. Just broke his ankle, he's gone. It opens up the pitch so much as well.
Exactly, and opens up space for other people to get into, and boom, we're in transition just like that. And I think that's going to be massive. And you know how Bissouma would always get man marked every single time he was playing? They'd say, okay, get on Bissouma because he comes the deepest. He puts himself in the most vulnerable position and he's that sort of trigger press. But even though he's really hard to get off the ball, but it's like high risk, high reward. If you get the ball with Bissouma, you then have a pop at the defense and a goal. But what I think we might start to see is almost like a box, not a box with maybe someone in the middle. Obviously, when Doggy and Porro come into almost those 2-10 positions, I fucking feel like that DT meme where he's like, what I want to see is a triangle in midfield. What's he set up? Fucking hell. I feel like people are switching off. But basically, Doggy, Porro filling in the 10s. Bergvall and Bissouma drop deep, so then that gives their midfield more of more to think about, because who do you then press? Who's that trigger press? Because Bergvall and Bissouma, they're similar in the fact they're so good on the half turn, back towards goal and beating that press. And if you put them together, if say there's that fluidness in midfield where, Porro and Doggy sort of invert into the sort of 10s, Sarr holds his ground in the middle, offers that support. The wingers are wide, stretching the opposition, and the striker pegs the defense back. You've got so much space, and boom, Bissouma or Bergvall both come deep. They beat their first man, and there's so much space, like you were saying, to then just move the ball on and get to their defense quickly. I think that might start happening. There might be more of a fluidity in the fact that more people come deep to receive the ball, not just Bissouma. And we were seeing that a bit more when Bentancur was coming in. Bentancur and Bissouma would almost rotate and who was going to go deeper. And again, that happened 2 days ago with the QPR. Bergvall would come deep, or Bissouma would. I think against Hearts it would be Hall or Bergvall. But maybe both at the same time. It might give the opposition more to think about. But yeah, like you're saying, he's deceptively that. Fuck me, mate. I'm so brain dead at the moment. He is strong, and I think that was a worry. Will he match up physically to the Premier League? He's played against Hearts and QPR. That's really physical.
Yeah,
so
QPR gave us a good test as well. Yeah, QPR gave us a good test physically as much as anything. They were like I said, again, from watching them and obviously listening to people like James obviously talk about them and stuff in terms of how well they've progressed under Cifuentes. That was evident, and it was a proper pre-season game for Tottenham. It was like physically they pressed us really well. They had like 16 corners. I think they had more shots than us. And we had to defend and we had to be under pressure. And I think throughout that whole game, for him to get through that, obviously he got injured. And I think it was either his groin or his hamstring. They don't really know yet, but apparently he's going to be all right. So it's not really
he should be all right.
What I was going to say was not to keep referencing our Lord and Saviour, Alistair Gold, but in that video, Alistair Gold was talking about the fact that he noticed before the game, obviously Spurs do their huddle before in front of the fans. And after that broke away, Basuma took Bergvall almost like, he was saying that he took Bergvall like aside and was talking to him one-on-one and was like, he was almost like, I wasn't watching it at this point. I was listening to it because I was doing something else. I assume Alistair Gold was doing something like this. He was saying that like Basuma was almost intimating to him to like, you go, I can cover. If I go, you cover. It's going to be very fluid. It's going to be like me and you were in this together. Like obviously you got Sarr in that midfield as well. But I feel like Sarr knows what his role is. He knows what he needs to do. He's such a good player, so intelligent. Obviously Bergvall is new to all of this. Basuma was like, almost like, and I love that about Basuma. But it also shows that again, Bergvall is confident enough to go like, yeah, give me the ball. Go up to the goalkeeper and say, I want it here. It's so brilliant, these little balls around the corner and stuff. Also, going back to what you were just talking about in terms of creating that box in midfield and in our ability to play out from the back, this is without Romero as well. Like Romero, who is one of the best line-breaking passers in terms of playing out from the back, so confident on the ball. How good is it? And do you know what? Again, caveat in the opposition and all that shit. Archie Gray, I think we really saw some Romero-esque kind of passing from him in that first game against Hearts. Like getting up onto the halfway line and whipping the ball into... There was one move that didn't quite come off from Spurs where Archie Gray strode forward with it. Sonny dropped a little bit deeper. And Kulusevski is that right-hand side of number 8. Just sort of made this little movement and Gray whipped the ball into Son's feet and Son just flicked it around the corner. It didn't quite come off for Kulusevski. But it was like Gray had that sort of similar thing as Romero of like able to really fizz these passes into the midfielders to receive it or the fullbacks or whoever kind of gets into those 10 positions. So this is without arguably the best ball progression centre back in the Premier League. You're adding to that mix as well. So there's so much to be excited about.
Mate, Archie Gray is gonna fucking cook next season. I can see him in so many different positions, and I'm so comfortable with him being like one of the starters in the team. And I think we'll get to the point where it'll be at the end of this. May be really reactionary, but it will be at the end of the end stage of next season. I think a lot of us will be saying he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Yeah, because even like I know he was playing centre back, but his recovery slide tackles. You're just instantly thinking about when we're caught in transition and he's maybe playing number 6 or number 8 and he's getting back. He covers the ground, his legs, he's like a gazelle, a little bit similar to like how Sarr covers ground. So
yeah.
Archie Gray can do the same thing. And it's like every like facet to his game, he again performs at such a high level and he doesn't look phased. No. And also his height is going to massively benefit us when it comes to like set pieces, etc. So I just think he's got a massive season ahead. What we're going to do, I'm going to chuck the youth team players' names at you. Yeah. You're going to tell me, keep, sell, loan. We're not going to sell any of them, but just like sell, loan or
keep on.
Before we do that though, make sure you've subscribed to the channel if you're listening, all right? Because we've had a massive increase in viewership. The support we've got has been amazing. We're so grateful for it. It's been amazing. And if you're enjoying our company, feel free to hit the subscribe button, like and press the bell icon as well, so you don't miss any uploads. But yeah, honestly, thank you so much. So Ben,
I was just going to say before you do that, because we can see you lot. Don't think we can't see you lurking there in the back in the analytics, because 75% of people that watched the last podcast were not subscribed. 25% were. So thanks to you guys. But that's legends. We got how many views? The last podcast got 1,200 views, which is class. 447 of you came back, who'd watched before. 75% of the people who watched it aren't subscribed. So fucking subscribe.
Press that subscribe button.
You little mugs. But we love you.
We love all of you. Whoever watches, we love you. Yeah. But so first name, Alfie Devine. Where's his fate? Where does his fate lie next season?
I think another loan, but I think a loan that because mate, he's been so good in these first couple of games. Really good, but really, really good. Again, a bit like Bergvall, playing everywhere in that midfield. Number 6, so composed on the ball, breaking the lines with his passing. There was a lovely pass that he played out to Werner for Spence's goal, I think, against Hearts, outside of the boot. Looks like a player with a real kind of point to prove a little bit, because again, he did really well at Port Vale last year. and then went to Plymouth, a struggling Plymouth side. And obviously, Phillips kind of stood out for sure, but Devine struggled quite a bit. But again, it's kind of, he needs to go somewhere. And again, there's caveats to that in terms of where they were in the table, the way they played, and then they changed manager towards the end of the season and where Devine was playing as well. And as soon as they changed manager, Devine actually played a little bit more centrally as kind of that. I think they played like a double pivot, and he almost played as a number 8 rather than a 10. There was a massive uptick in form. He's one of their best players at the last few games. He needs to go somewhere that are going to play front-footed attacking football. That's where you get the best out of him, not a team that's like fighting off relegation, trying to be defensive. Because if he goes to somewhere in the Championship, dare I say even lower half of the Premier League, but probably Championship, like at the top of the league, fighting for promotion, playing attacking football, transitional, he'll do really well. He's such a good player, man. He's a really good player. But I would loan him. I would loan him again.
QPR, mate. You should join QPR. It'd be a great team for him to join.
Yeah,
like just on the front
Marty,
foot.
get on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think Championship loan again, but more of you have to think of the way we play, and he needs to sort of. I think going Port Vale, learning the physicality and getting battered a bit, and the same with playing for Plymouth, learning how to play
under pressure,
but horrible football as well.
He'll be better for it.
Yeah, exactly. He'll learn so much more and he'll be so much better, like well-rounded. But then now I think it's time for him to really show the best attributes he's got and play for like a possession-based team on the front foot. Because just play. Let him play.
Where do you see
Mikey Moore, mate?
Just before you move on to the next player, sorry. Where do you see Devine as a player? Like, where do you think he's a? Do you think he's a 10?
I think number 8, mate.
I think so as well.
I think someone who wants to be on the ball, spraying it about.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think perfect next to someone who's more defensive. I see him in a 4-2-3-1 as kind of that left-sided, almost a bit more of a box-to-box midfielder. I see him as that. I don't see him
Jordan
as a 10.
Henderson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Jordan Henderson of our academy.
The next Jordan Henderson.
With a bit more...
Jordan Henderson was class, don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. With a bit more guile and a bit more spark than Henderson. But I do see him more of a pivot, a double pivot kind of player, definitely, rather than a 10.
I mean, like that position sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, no,
like that defensive support, but who has a big part in the way but goes unnoticed.
He did a lot of good defensive work. Again, I highlighted, not to keep talking about the stream I did on YouTube yesterday, but I highlighted that in that. There was I really wanted to focus on Devine. Like, again, it's so hard with preseason because it's like you've got 22, 23 players, 20, maybe even 24 players playing 45 minutes. Or thereabouts, or like a few players getting changed in that. You got who am I going to talk about? Who am I going to like?
Yeah, exactly. There's so many players, mate.
He stood out massively and was like, I really want to talk about Devine as on his own,
in
his own light. And I did a little piece on him and talked about his passing, but also there was a few times where he really tracked back and helped out defensively. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah. Massive shout out to Austin and Gunter as well. And Whiteman didn't really do much, but Austin made some great saves.
He played in the second game, didn't he? He played in the first game, second half.
Yeah. But Austin made some great saves, and I think there was a lot of skepticism around Austin's actual goalkeeping and shot stopping, because that Newcastle game he made an error, didn't he? And I think people are a bit worried about him, but he made some worldy saves over the course of those 2 games. And Gunter as well looked really strong too. But next person is Mikey Moore. Where does this? He's got fucking staying. He could be pushing for fucking first team first team action. He just looks so unfazed. And I think he's ready. He's ready.
Yeah, there's no need. There's also no need for a loan. There's just not, because it's like, okay, if he doesn't play for Tottenham, I'd just keep him playing make him take that step up to the under 21s and play there all season, and then dip in and out of Spurs. But I think there's a reason. I think that that interest from Dortmund, Man City, Man United, and all those teams, etc. And apparently Chelsea made an 8-figure offer for him or something last year.
Yeah, fuck off,
fucking Chelsea cunts. I think that has made Spurs be like, shit. We need to get this guy in now, get him involved. Yeah, and he's been a first team player for Spurs since April, basically, isn't he? Like Mikey Moore, he's come in and not come out. And again, obviously been away for a bit and come back into pre-season. But he was in every first team squad from the North London derby onwards. And those were big games we had. And all right, he only came on the last couple, but I think they love him. I think they want to. And again, like it's so obvious the potential that he's got and the talent that he's got. We don't need to go over Mikey Moore again, but like, there's no way he should go out on loan. One, he's probably too young, but I think he's also kind of like, go and let him play in the Europa League. I think he's ready. Let him come off the bench
massively.
Let him come off the bench when we're 2-0 up against Everton. Let him come off the bench when we're 2-0 up against Wolves or whatever. Like that, those kind of games. Let him get a feel for it when we're on the up, when we've got the upper hand in games, and go.
And he might shock people as well.
I think so.
He might be like, "Oh my god, he's just scored 2 and we won 4-0."
Because the Man City game,
he seems like
well, exactly. Yeah, he could look Liverpool, the Jayden Dans, players like that, like they're playing those cup games and stuff like that. It's people, you don't expect it, and it's like I remember he did an interview after the Man City game. We were talking about the fact that it was almost like a PlayStation game. It was like the pace of it was unreal, and I couldn't really almost like it was playing against Man City as well. Like fucking come on, like. But the more opportunities like that he gets, the more he's going to get a feel for it. And I think as soon as he gets a feel for it even more, like the way he took that goal against Hearts, like
you're confusing me.
So many players like snap at those kind of chances. Like, but he drove inside and then But then he had the composure to kind of cut back onto his right foot and go across the goalkeeper. It's just
yeah. You said more like 5 times there, and I was like,
Moore.
"Do you mean him or the Moore?"
Moore. Mikey Moore.
I thought you were just going more.
Yeah,
I was like,
I want more.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree, mate. And also, I go back to it before. I think I can't remember when I said it, but Postecoglou, when he was doing his punditry, kept raving about 16-year-old Yamal, and he's got his own 16-year-old that could come in and stay in that first team and really flourish. And I think quality. I don't think he'd exactly, and I don't want him to. I don't think Postecoglou is the type of guy to like. I don't think he'd praise him too much. I think he'll praise him when he's asked about him, but I think he wants to keep him grounded. But I think deep down, I think he's thinking, "Wow, I've got a player on my hands here," and he's and it's almost fallen on his lap, innit? But he's come through the academy, and he just looks like he's going to kick on and never look back. Lankshear, Donnelly, and Phillips go. We'll just like smash these.
Donnelly and Phillips, I'd loan. I think Donnelly's been linked with a move to Luton, which I think would be superb for him.
Yeah.
Phillips again, I think probably another loan. I'd say.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, it kind of depends if we sign a versatile defender or not. You can play at centre back, who knows? But I'd probably say in an ideal world, maybe give him a loan. And then I think Lankshear, depending on what happens with the striker options and who we bring in, etc. I think in an ideal world, a loan would be perfect for him, but I would also happily see him stay. Like that's kind of where I'm at with Lankshear.
Yeah.
So, but I'll probably say loan, But I'd say that. But then if it came down to like if you had to loan out one, Scarlett or Lankshear, I'd probably say Scarlett and keep Lankshear around.
I'd say so as well, because I think Scarlett, I think it's the physicality of Lankshear where we don't really have that. I mean, Valise, but again,
I'd loan him as well.
But you loan. You're saying you loan Scarlett, you loan Valise, and that leaves Tyrese Hall.
Keep. I think Tyrese is 18. I think again, I think another year because he only really came into the 21s like. He was still playing under 18 football at the start of last season. And then kind of came in midway through and really kind of excelled through the age groups. Mate, he's a proper player, that kid. Again, he struggled a little bit against QPR. He got the double sub treatment, which was unfortunate. But against Hearts, he was impressive. And I just love him. The way he plays with so much kind of calmness and just kind of got the Basuma thing about him where it's just like, looks like the best player on a five-a-side pitch kind of thing.
Proper five-a-side player he is.
Yeah, but I think I'd probably keep Tyrese around, give him another proper year in the 21s, let him be the best player in that team.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, maybe it's his time to be that player, and then maybe at the end of the season, evaluate him and think: is he ready for the first team, or is he now ready for a loan? Because we've got so much talent on our hands. It's like you just need to keep calm about each of them and sort of just you want to nurture them and give them the best possible sort of like build up to that first team. Do you know what I mean? That journey to improve. I want to talk about Djed Spence because he's been getting. Not only has he been getting loads of minutes on the pitch, but also like a lot of exposure as well. I think a lot of people were excited that he keeps Ange sort of giving him the time to sort of prove himself, I guess, in pre-season. Also, he's been interacting a lot with like teammates on socials. He's been hanging out with a doggy I saw like in his spare time at one of their houses. And he keeps appearing on like Spurs' socials. Like it's almost like they keep putting him in our face. It's not like they've just like shunned him to the in the background. He's almost like front and center of most of their content at the moment.
Yeah.
Is he this year's Gio Lo Celso? Or do you think he's got that redemption in him? Because this was the same thing. Lo Celso come back from loan. It looked like he was like going out again. But then all of a sudden he started like interacting a lot more with teammates. He was on socials a bit more, and Ange was saying, don't have to go ask Spanish reporters. Like I'm keeping him. And now we got to the point where it's just like fucking sell him, mate. He's so annoying. Actually, he splits a lot of opinion. A lot of people like him, but I'm at the point where I'm like, just get rid of him.
Yeah, Jacob Ramsey, Lo Celso thing like that. The reaction to some of that was baffling. Like,
yeah, it was baffling. Yeah, like, do you remember how many games he's like got people on a fucking in a spell? Like, everyone's thinking
it's like we're selling prime Luka Modric.
Yeah, Jacob Ramsey. Yeah, I mean, Jacob Ramsey has had injury problems as well.
Yeah,
but at least he's homegrown. At least that helps that quota. You don't even have to play. At least we can qualify for competitions. Yeah. But do you think with Djed Spence, he's got that redemption in him, or do you think he's one of those players that people just want? Do they want to hold on to? They see the potential there. Obviously, he may not have attitude problems. He's fallen out with quite a few coaches in the past.
Yeah,
but again, it's hard to tell with players as well. I mean, like he could just be going. He could have been going through something personal in his life. All these elements come into play here. He looks like he's happy, and he looks like he's in a good headspace. And it's showing in those two games. Again, don't want to jump the gun, but he was excellent both games.
And I didn't.
So
again,
what do you think?
Again, that's a good point to make, just in terms of like how good he was. Like, it's something on that. It's like I said this the other day. All of the fullbacks that we've got at the club, basically, other than Richarlison, who just he might as well not be here anymore. Like Spence, Porro, and a doggy. Other than and Emerson, well, not really Emerson because he's going as well. But those three, they were all bought as wing backs, weren't they? Like they were all bought as not to play anywhere close to the sort of football that we play now. And the way that Spence has taken to that is something that I really didn't see coming. Like I didn't see him having. I said it
to you last ep.
Yeah,
I said he'd fit that. He'd fit that role really well. I think.
I wasn't convinced, but then again, maybe that's just because I was like, you're just used to seeing him in a more transitional based wing back kind of role, like up and down. Yeah. Like when we bought him under Conte, it was like, oh god, the way he carries the ball with so much power and pace and stuff. It's like it's gonna be perfect. And I didn't. Maybe that's naive of me. Like I didn't see it in this role, but he's been fantastic. Like really good. We shouldn't go too early because again, it could be very much a case of like, I need to see more. Like I think I just need to see more. I think it's great that he's obviously got people at the club that he's close with now, and people that kind of like someone like Destiny Doggy who had that similar thing of being brought in a separate role and has taken to that really well. Younger than Spence, I'm pretty sure as well in his Destiny. Showed like he's got such a great character, such a great temperament. And again, it's hard to have conversations about like obviously his attitude and all that kind of stuff because we don't really know. Like
no one knows
the things that are in the public eye. Obviously, the thing with Neil Warnock wasn't great. The stuff that came out from Leeds wasn't great. Seemed there wasn't really any of those issues at Genoa, which was good.
And again,
exactly. And I love it when players. I've said this so many times. And kind of players go outside their comfort zone, go abroad and go somewhere and kind of almost take that bit of a step back and step away from things. And maybe that's really helped him. So, yeah, I want to see more, but I want to see him go on the tour and then see what happens. Because it felt very much like he would be one of those ones that would... I mean, I don't know. I tweeted out earlier. I don't know if anybody... Well, we're not doing this live, so nobody will be able to help us. But I don't know whether... I presume the squad is announced today. And that is obviously very telling of the players that will stay and will not stay. Obviously, we have not seen a second of Reguilon or Brian Hill. But Spence has played both half... Yeah, exactly. Spence has played 90 minutes across the two games and been one of the best players. and
scored
again,
and got an assist.
Exactly. And a lot of people, like, I don't know what you thought about this, but like a lot of people made a lot about Ange's comments after the game, saying that he was quite reluctant to give him praise and stuff like that, and some people saying, it's just a bit of a shame, really. It's like, I didn't think anything of it. I really didn't think anything of it. He kind of just said that he's been good. I can't actually. I'll see if. Let me know what you think. I'll try and find what he said.
He don't want to jump the gun. He's the Spurs manager. Like
exactly
a month ago,
like you said
Jed
about
Spence was gone.
Exactly, and like you said earlier about, I can't remember what player you were talking about in terms of like the reluctance to give players. Mikey Moore, when you talk about Mikey Moore, like the reluctance almost to give him too much praise because, like what he said was, Jed did well. He had a tough couple of years. This was after the Hearts game, and I don't think he was asked about him after the QPR game. Jed did well. He's had a tough couple of years. He's training with us, and I think with all of the players when they are here with us, I treat them as Tottenham players unless something suddenly changes. I think a lot of people were almost like, I didn't think anything of that. Did you? Yeah. I didn't think that.
I think initially I thought it sounds like there's still a possibility of him moving. But actually, again, it's giving Spence a motive now. It's saying, if you want to stay, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go, you're going to go. But I'm going to keep treating you the same way. I'm going to treat you as a Spurs player. And at the end of the day, if you end up as a Spurs player or not, you've got a place here. I don't know.
You'll probably be able to find him saying something similar about Lo Celso at this point last summer. And then again, look at the turnaround of what happened after that, where he was then like, "Oh, you don't need to speak to the Spanish media, mate. I'm not letting him go. I really like him." So, who's to say in a month's time, after 3 or 4 more months' time, the season had been started, but in 3 weeks or 4 weeks' time, the season is about to start, and Ange is then saying, "No, I want to keep him around."
So it's interesting, and also, even if he is this year's Lo Celso, I don't think it would even do us that much harm. As long as he's not causing problems in the dressing room. Like, Lo Celso, he's not going to be injured like Lo Celso was, but Lo Celso, he made an impact when he did play. That's why there's people like fucking wanking off to his highlight reels right now, like as we speak. I guarantee there's about at least 20 Spurs fans. So I feel like, and also fans love him. Fans really like him, and that's also a big plus. Every time he'll play, he'll have encouragement. It's not like it's like in Ndombele, or I think when Lo Celso even come back into the mold, I think people were like, "Oh, for fuck's sake! Like, why is he like he's back?" I think a lot of people want to see Spence because we've hardly seen him since he's played for us, and every 100%. Time he's shown quality. So.
Yeah, the attitude from the fan base is very much one, I think, of like, I think everybody, exactly. I think it's very much like that. Whereas, like, I think with Lo Celso in that last year, it was like, oh, fuck it again, really? Like, are we doing this, having this conversation? And we're having the same conversation again this summer. So it's like,
I know.
Get bored of it, don't you? But Spence, it's like, I think everyone wants to get behind him.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to some transfer news then, mate.
Yeah, baby.
Because Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, he's gone. He's done. Thank you. Thanks for those 5 solid appearances off the bench last season.
Thanks for all the gesticulation and like the shouting and pointing at players. Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for fucking holding Son back from clearing that ball off the line against Chelsea.
Oh my fucking god.
I am joking though. He actually was a really good, like under Conte Mourinho, he was amazing. And actually, it's really surprising that he's gone to De Zerbi. I was like, is he a ball playing midfielder?
We're gonna see something we've never seen from Pierre-Emile.
Yeah,
he's good on the ball. It's just that he's like really has to think about it, doesn't he? Like he's very erratic. Like he but I think he'll do really well. I think he'll do great there. I'm surprised. Like I mean, I would have thought he could have got a Champions League team. I'm not saying that he's like Champions. He probably is Champions League level. He's a good player. Like,
but De Zerbi's a good
player. He's a good player. Oh, 100%.
I think De Zerbi and Marseille, like they've got, I mean, a very toxic fan base, but they've got like a big following.
He's already dumped them as well, hasn't he?
And he has, exactly, yeah.
Great
so
guy.
I reckon they probably signed him just on that goal alone. I don't even know if they've scouted him, but De Zerbi will probably play him fucking rotating inverted goalkeeper or something. Like, I don't know where he's gonna play. I mean, I don't know whether he'll have a bit more leverage, like maybe in more advanced midfield position, or whether he'll be sitting or box to box. He's probably best in a box to box position, that role. I think when he's playing for
yeah.
Denmark, he really flourishes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good deal. What do you think? What do you think about a deal when it comes to finances? Because I mean, not much is coming in straight away. Alistair Gold reported a few things, and now he said he's come to the conclusion that it's an initial loan with an obligation of that reaches 20 million euros, which I actually think for 1 more year is actually okay. I think a lot of people were getting they're jumping the gun a bit with like the initial reports that it was like 11 mil or something. I think I'm fine with that. Get bit of money coming in. He obviously wanted to go, so he didn't even want to come to the Australia the Australia game against Newcastle.
Yeah.
So just get him off the books. What's your initial thoughts on it? Do you think he has a higher value in the market in the team?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm totally fine with the way that it's done. Like again, I texting you earlier about it. Like it's another big player off the wage bill. That
tell me about the wages, mate, because you wanted to bring this in, didn't you?
Yeah. So let me see if I can find. There was an article that I was reading earlier. Again, I had to give credit to Alistair Gold, even though he's definitely not listened to this. Just in terms of he was the one that kind of was talking about in his video. Let me just get it up.
I've heard through the grapevine as well that Alistair Gold's got a chopper on him.
He was on this morning, wasn't
he? Yeah.
I think it's just the Højbjerg thing ties in nicely to the fact that we've done so much good work in terms of turning over a lot of deadwood. Speaking of, Alistair Gold certainly has not got deadwood. He's wood. But yeah, Højbjerg was on. If this website that I'm looking at is true, Højbjerg was on about 100 grand a week. So that's 100 grand a week play off the wage book for a guarantee of around what's 20 million euros, like 14, 15 million quid.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And when you add to that the fact that we've also got rid of Roden, Parrott, and Dombele, Sessegnon, Tanganga.
Perisic, maybe. He was on like £200,000 a week.
Exactly, yeah. Winks, Sanchez. This is all over the last couple of years. It all kind of adds up nicely and almost makes someone like Archie Gray kind of paid for himself a little bit, really, which is, on one hand, that's great. On the other hand, it's right that now let's go and spend the money. That's kind of where I'm at a little bit. But
we haven't yet.
Exactly, we haven't. But this feels like a big week. I will say that.
Outgoings, they're accelerating. And
yeah.
Well, actually, let's get on because that sort of links in with Richie. What's Richie on? Because Gary Jacobs reported
and 90 apparently, but I don't believe that.
90. Even still, though, if he's on 90,000, that's quite significant compared to the rest of the players.
He would have been our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, our 8th highest paid player, Richarlison, and Højbjerg our 7th. Yeah. It's only Kulusevski, Werner, Romero, Madison, and Son who earn more.
Fucking Werner.
Werner's on massive wages. This is why a lot of people didn't want to sign him because he's on like 160 grand a week.
He's still living off that goal spree he got in before lockdown when Lamine Yamal was like 8 years old. He's still living off that hype. Yeah, his agent's done a good job. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I quite like Werner, but yeah, I agree.
I do love Werner actually. I do like him, but so Gary Jacobs reported Saudi Arabia teams in Saudi Arabia.
The state of Saudi Arabia. Literally the state of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, teams. I don't know what teams was it.
This
is the worst podcast in the sure.
Wow,
was it? Yeah, Al Hilal or something.
Yeah, Al Murray.
Al. So anyway, yeah, Saudi Arabia. Fuck me. Why do I can't say this question.
I think
teams
it was
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, the Saudi Pro League. Let me get it up. Who was it? It was
They won anyway. Spurs won 60
Al Hilal. Al Ahil. What? I've never heard of this team.
No, I mean neither. When I saw, that's why it's not like a one that you remember.
Al Ali, I think it might be AHLI. Al Ali.
Yeah. Well, Spurs want 60 mil for him. Question is, would you take that? Obviously,
yeah.
Obviously, you're going to take 60 mil for him. Fucking stupid question.
No, I think I'd hold out for another year. See you give him another go. It's hard because God.
I was gonna say it's not relevant at all. When I went to the stag do, we were all there, and why did I even start this fucking story? It's so long. We basically, our flight was overbooked. They had 9 extra seats, and there was 12 of us. So that excited us because they said $2,000 up front. Like you get $2,000, not cash actually. You just get $2,000 extra. So we were thinking about the kitty for the stag do. So we were like, oh my god, like that's unbelievable. We're like, oh my god, I think that's $18,000 we'll have in the kitty. We'll all get our money back and be able to go on other holidays. And before we even know it, we looked and there was a lad from the group that went over to the stewardess and went and started negotiating, starting at $10,000 each. And we were like, what's he doing? And then he come back with his like head like low, like a dog that's just like shitting on the carpet. And he was just like, yeah, they said it was like non-negotiable. And then these girls got on got the deal, and we were like, what the fuck? We were so excited.
What? So you had to get on? So you got on the plane?
Yeah, we just got on the plane, went straight there. You had to like go via Zurich. But what I'm saying is that was stupid. Just like it would be fucking stupid not to to try and negotiate that deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think they would pay that as well.
I'm not sure they'd pay 60, but I think they'd pay close. And I think 50, I said it earlier, like in a video, I was like, take the money and run. If you get anywhere near that. Like I love Richarlison. I love him. And in an ideal world, he stays and it works out. But because he's shown how effective he can be in this system, he's obviously got that kind of monkey off his back in terms of the pressure of the price tag and all those kind of things, like settled at Spurs, confident, blah, 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 blah. It's just the fitness is a proper issue, man. It's just, and again, it wouldn't be so bad if we weren't in Europe, but again, there'd be other conversations that we'd have to have, and it's not worth keeping Richarlison it's just, nah. I think 45 mil, I'll bite your hand off for that now.
Yeah.
Because that pays for Tony.
45. Yeah. Pays for Tony, but also, I said this earlier, say we get 60 mil, yeah? Plus the Højbjerg 20 mil.
Yeah.
Gyökeres £80 million release clause.
Oh, yeah. Is it this? He's coming.
For those listening to audio, yeah, we were saying if Gyökeres actually signs, we're just going to do a whole pod doing a celebration.
Batman.
How have we both got girlfriends, mate?
I don't know. She doesn't even listen to this, but I'm guaranteed that somehow in some world giving her the ick.
Yeah, 100% say on my girlfriend, 100%. In fact, she's just texted me.
Hope you get hit by a bus today.
But yeah, I mean, it just gives us a lot of leeway when it comes to maybe a marquee signing, I think. Because again, we've only spent money on Archie Gray this summer. And I don't think Spurs fans wanted to hear it, but we needed to sell to buy. We didn't make like Champions League. Although we don't really need to do that. But no, because
more in terms of the balance of the squad, not financially, but
exactly. Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's true. I don't know where I was going with that last point.
No, but you are kind of right. Like not necessarily financially, but there was. I think. Don't get me wrong. We're not done, and we're nowhere near done, and we need to move quickly in terms of some of these players that we've been linked with. But I think getting thing like we're talking about Højbjerg and talking about that kind of first 11 of players that have like basically gone over the last couple of years. And I think I said to you something earlier. What was it that? How many of the 25 players that ended the season before Ange came in?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Was it 11? I can't remember. There was basically like nearly half the squad that Ange inherited have now gone, like sold or released. So it's like that's kind of as important because Spurs for so long have been so bad at getting money for players and kind of like holding out. And I get why people are maybe a little bit like, whoa, hang on a minute, we could have got more money for Højbjerg, but sometimes like it's not bad money just for a start. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you always see those like those photos of the starting lineup again in the Conference League or even the season after, and you're there like Galini, Tanganga, Sanchez, or Rodon. Then you got Doherty, Sessegnon, Winks, Skip, and Dombele or something.
Yeah. Romero's just there like a diet. Like, what the fuck is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
How the fuck did we manage to secure? Paratici's been doing some shady business.
He's in trouble again, isn't he? He's back in trouble again, isn't he? apparently.
Yeah. Oh, criminal. I fucking love him. Free my boy Paratici.
Free my guy. Us and Juventus are like the Bloods and the Crips just holding up.
I mean, how the hell did we manage to get him in the state we were in at the time? Thank God we're in we look lucrative, mate.
I know what you mean.
I woke up on the wrong side of the fucking bed this morning. I can't even speak.
It's kind of the right word, but I know what you mean. Like attractive as a prospect.
Attractive, yeah. If you're staying with us,
yeah, thank you so much.
All my little like micro strokes that I've had during presenting this pod. Thanks, just thank you. And hit the subscribe button if you like it.
Yeah. If I find out another 75% of you aren't subscribed.
75% just unsubscribe, mate.
I'm gonna come round your house. We need the Premier League. We need the Premier League.
We do, mate. We actually need some like actual signings as well. We're going off like rumours and whispers, and anyway.
I can't do it anymore.
I can't do it anymore. Talking about it though, Doue might be on the cards if you're thinking logically. Like you said earlier, Sancho has been rumoured to go to PSG. Bayern, and actually, let me just finish my point. But Bayern only want one of Simmons and Doue, but that fucking Plettenberg, and
when will we be
FC
free
Bayern,
from that man?
Christian Falk. Oh my god, But obviously, if you're thinking about it, obviously they're going to be so like propaganda towards Bayern because they're constantly sucking loud mink of Bayern Munich, and obviously they're going to be like, they want both Doue and Xavi Simons. Yeah, they want them as well. Yeah, Bayern Munich, they're the best team in all the land. They're going to be like that. But now they've come out saying, like, maybe a few days it went cold on Doue. It went cold with Fabrizio Romano constantly tweeting about Doue and farming interactions and that. And then now it's come out saying they only want one of Simmons and Doue, and they want Simmons. I think if Doue is looking at this, obviously he's playing at the Olympics now. I think Doue is looking at this thinking, there's one team that didn't go away that just gave me space, and that's Spurs. Yeah. Maybe we click our fingers and we do the deal for Desiree Doue. What do you think?
And he's got to pick up this little blower, hasn't he? He's got to pick up the blower and just go, Desiree, how you doing, mate? We've got a great song for you, Freed from Desire. We've got another great podcast title for you, to Desiree to Doue. I think there's logic in that. Like, I do think there's logic in that because they're looking at PSG, are looking at Sancho. They're also looking at Osimhen and João Neves.
They're the priorities,
Yeah, don't play in the position, but maybe while they're distracted, go, right, Desiree, what are you saying, mate? Bayern wants Simmons, don't they? Obviously don't rate you that much. I think PSG, looking at Jadon Sancho, he couldn't even cut it at Man United. Like, they obviously don't rate you. Like, we really rate you. Come and play. Yeah. Harry Brooks was very excited about Desiree Doue when we spoke on the Ripple Effect, and I think it's convinced me that he's the best player in the world. So, I think
so. He convinced me.
There was an ITK that tweeted something yesterday, and it was retweeted by Billy T. And I feel like Billy T upholds the standards of the Spurs community on Twitter, so I trust him. He retweeted something that said, "Spurs fans are going to be happy this week." You see that?
Yeah, I saw that, mate. Yeah. I got happy instantly, not even that week. Just someone telling me I'm going to be happy, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been too long.
Instant rod on. So
instant raging, absolutely raging rod on. Yeah.
So I think that I would. It's not out of the question. I think Doue very much felt like it was out of the question last week. Now I'm not sure, and I think
happened with Bergvall, Dragusin.
Yep.
Sorry,
grass ain't always greener on the fields of, I don't know, Bayern, even though it's Dusseldorf or wherever. Well, you want to go? You want to go play on that Frankfurt pitch, do you? And nearly fucking tear your ACL because of how bad it is. Twice a season or once a season. Sorry. Do you want to do that? No, I don't think.
Just ask Harry Kane how many fucking trophies he's won.
Exactly. Just ask Radu Dragusin who he picked, and don't ask his agent though, because that's another question. But yeah, so I just woke up and was like, so you're telling me there's a chance? That's what I felt like.
You know what though? It kind of like in a way, it kind of pisses me off because Johan Lange will come out of this getting all the credit. He's like that guy in Little
Working in
Britain
silence.
who he's found in a tree, and they're like, "How'd you get up there?" And he's like, "I fell." He's just like, everything just keeps fucking falling on his lap, like just because everyone else had different targets.
Yeah,
and he's that like working in silence gimmick.
What did I say on the last? Was it last podcast I said this? Where what was it? Napoleon Bonaparte was like, "I don't want good soldiers, I want lucky ones." Sometimes,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sometimes I can't even remember the context in which I said that, but was we talking about? I think I was talking about England, weren't we?
We're talking about we're talking about Postecoglou's group stage luck, I think. Like Tottenham's group stage luck or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's true though in regards to this massively.
I don't mind being if it means they want to go and sign Osimhen.
But it might be the point that good. Yeah, it might be the point that like we're not making any moves on certain targets, and it's taking a while because we're just waiting to see what happens here. Because this is a massive, massive opportunity if we can strike a deal. But yeah, look, going back to what you said about the 3 players. I'm sorry, you didn't even say that. Paul O'Keefe tweeted saying that we're close to accelerating deals on 3 different players. Oh my god! I to be fair though, I hate this. Like, can fucking Johan Lange come out and leak all the players he's in talks with? Because I hate just guessing and
way
like
more fun
fixating on certain players. It's so much more fun.
A bomber every fucking day.
It was like an open relationship with Parachi.
Yeah, half of them turned out to be bollocks, but it's still.
He was a proper little slag though, Parachi.
Yeah, he was.
Give me some dopamine, mate. I need it. I need some dopamine.
Just think about it, mate. Would you rather have like a mini dopamine hit of like a exclusive from Fabrizio saying that we're like in talks to sign this player, or would you rather imagine the dopamine hit if next week nothing gets said and then Spurs have activated Eze's release clause? Imagine that dopamine hit. Imagine that. Just imagine that.
I don't want to imagine it because I'll have to turn the stream off. I have to put that over my camera real quick. I don't know. I mean, yeah, fucking hell. I don't know what deals. It's so exciting, but it's also like excruciating. It's being teased.
Yeah. Do you know what I think was funny? It's like Johan Lange is getting so much stick at the moment, and people on Twitter are like, "I'm fed up of like hearing that he works in silence." I reckon by the end of the window, everyone will be like, "I'll take it all back." I think we're gonna. Yeah. I think something exciting is going to happen at Spurs in the next couple of weeks. Whether it's Paul O'Keefe saying that, or it was that little tweet saying Spurs fans are going to be happy. I mean, we'll talk about it on Monday next week, and we'll see if we were happy. But
it's going to be like go-karts at half price, isn't it?
yeah. £10 off for Spurs members.
I don't know who it is, but also an ITK. Yeah, probably. Actually, fucking hell, we haven't even released that, have we? But the ITKs as well. There was an ITK. I keep forgetting his name. Is it Spurs Journal? I think I don't know.
Poseidon.
Poseidon. Yeah, he was saying that if he had to guess, there would be Doue Neto, I think, and there's a Bundesliga winger we're looking at of interest. Yeah. I've been looking at Bundesliga wingers. Yeah, I'm not going to start talking about like Kingsley Coman, Sane, Alphonso Davies, because I don't think that'll ever happen.
Dreaming is free, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. But Byron Gittins, is that how you say his name?
Byron Gittins, yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Brooks.
Harry Brooks loves him. Yeah. Maybe Jeremy Frimpong. He'd suit the system.
All out for Frimpong. He kind of does play as a winger, doesn't he? As well, he's not even really a fullback.
Yeah. But also that extra bit of cover. If we do, I don't know if he'd be able to do the role like Porro does, but because he's very touchline, dribbly, get the cross in. But then that's what Brennan Johnson basically does. I don't know if he reads like the game state well or anything like that. And
Musiala,
but yeah, Danny Olmo. He's on the move.
So good, man.
I don't know, but it's exciting times, and by next pod, hopefully we're talking about 3 fucking signings, Ben.
Yeah,
that sounds unbelievable.
Yeah,
something to get behind.
Yeah, when we end this podcast, we will say, "Will we be happy?" And then we'll start the next podcast whether we were or not, basically. And you can all join us on that emotional roller coaster of what it's set to be supporting Tottenham, because it does feel like I said this, I tweeted it a couple of weeks ago, nothing happened. I was like, smells like a bomber. It smells like something's in the air.
It's like quiet before the storm, innit?
Yeah. Even Alistair Gold was saying in his video yesterday, he was like, just now, like, feels like movement is coming.
Oh, there's
Feels like
movement
something's
coming in my pants.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. doing after dark.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this then. We'll finish the pod. Again, like, subscribe, comment. We love the feedback we're getting. Thank you so much. We're going to end this pod on a prediction. 3 players, the 3 next players we're bringing in. Ben, take it away.
Doue. That's kind of come about today a little bit, isn't it? Doue.
He's a left back, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Ramsey and Eze.
Jesus. Oh, you think Eze?
No, I don't know. Okay, I'll go Doue, Ramsey, and Doue.
Doue. So Neto's off the cards, off the table.
Oh, but I don't know, because it could, like, I would not be surprised if we wake up tomorrow morning, it's like Spurs are in talks to sign Neto from Wolves. That would not, I think any of them, I think anything is possible.
No. I think striker will be later on the window if we do it.
Yeah, that's not happening now.
I don't think that's going to be like, Tottenham are in talks with Ivan Tottenham. That's not going to happen, I don't think. It's going to be the pieces around the team, maybe like, someone that can cover a few positions like Ramsey or Doue or Eze, and then that out winger.
I will say, though, again, another thing to keep an eye on with the tour announcement is Richarlison, I reckon. Yeah, again, if he doesn't go, I don't think it'll be down to him moving. But again, if he doesn't go because he's not fit, then that might be an indicator of also, I don't know, maybe not. But
I know
it's going to be very interesting. Like, they might look to move him on while he's not there, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, like he may be like carrying a bit of a knock, but they're just like, it's not
good
worth
excuse
it.
to
it's an excuse to sell him, and say, look, you've missed out on a preseason. Like, you have had injury problems. We can't risk it. I don't know, but I'm gonna say I can't see Ramsey coming now. They've sold DRB. I'm gonna say Doue or Bradley Loco.
Mm-hmm.
I think that defensive cover. I'm gonna say Doue.
Mm-hmm.
I think something's in the water. And Doue covers that position, so I'm going to say an out-and-out winger. It's going to be like fucking that Chris Falkrig or whatever his name is from Stuttgart, isn't it? Fucking hell, we're getting so excited. Actually, it's going to be that South Korean winger that we're going to loan back. That's going to be counted as a sign.
If that's the next sign, I think Spurs Twitter might go to meltdown.
We're going to be happy. We're going to be happy this week. I think it will no one suppose probably will be that, but I think it will be like maybe Neto, maybe something like that. Neto and Doue, we've been.
I will still be very excited
about
ages. Neto. It's just that in the back of my mind, I'll be like, if we sign Neto, like, don't get me wrong, there would be a dopamine rush because I'm like
100%, yeah,
I fucking love him, but like it'd be a cautious dopamine rush. You know, like Ralph Hasenhüttl, where he's celebrating and he's like this. It'd be like that. That'll be me with us signing Neto. Like, you get really excited and you just like, calm down. Just remember the injuries.
Yeah. It's like, Pedro Neto's broke his back during the massage in the medical.
Yeah.
He's made of fucking. He's made of like sticks, and he is poppadom hamstrings.
Yeah.
But I do love him, and he would instantly make us like. He'd be a game changer for those 15 appearances. 100. But again, you're in but then you're thinking Richarlison. Again, he was really good when he played for us, but he just weren't available. I don't know. But then if we sign Doue, you've still got that coverage. Maybe Mikey Moore can just cover. That could be an excuse to bring Mikey Moore in. I don't know. But
Solomon?
Oh, fuck off. I think, I don't know. All I know is that hopefully we'll get 3 dopamine hits the next week. We're like fucking crackheads. We're like, fucking give us some dopamine. I would take signing that South Korean wonder kid right now, just for that dopamine, just to feel something. Yeah.
I don't even know his name. Literally, we don't know his name. They've said a young South Korean winger. Who? Like it could be the regen of Son Heung-Min, but we don't fucking know his name.
I don't know who it is. I just want something. Please, I'll take anything.
Oh dear!
Oh, so
fucking hell!
All right, everyone. You're
could
all
be
legends.
That geezer from PSG, couldn't it? He's not a winger, but like it could be Lee Kang in, and we're like, okay, all right. We don't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mate, I'll take it.
We wouldn't like
there was rumours that someone put like a massive bid on him.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there? Apparently, it was Newcastle.
Yeah. Oh. Let's pretend it ain't. Let's pretend it's us.
Let's pretend we signed a player.
Hope. Everyone, hopefully we'll all be happier next time we meet again. Catch you later.
See you when you're older. Come you Spurs.